right direction, although ESPN says their position of need is still a number 2 wide receiver. They write, this pick wasn't easy as the Broncos have a credible 2 deep at every spot. The best I could come up with was lack of a clear number 2 receiver behind Courtland Sutton. Broncos have a ton of players there, but nobody has really established himself as a strong wide receiver 2. Marvin Mims Jr., 39 catches, 503 yards. Devon Vele, 41 for 475. They also will mix in Pat Bryant, veteran Trent Sherfield, and Troy Franklin, Bo Nix's old college teammate. Yeah, a little bit of a shot at old Troy there that he's listed behind Trent Sherfield.
And, the guy that Bo played with who had a big play in the wild card game.
He did. It was one of his only big plays of the entire season, but he did have a big play. We all got sick of watching Bo and Troy misconnecting by a yard or two in key moments. But what do you make of ESPN saying the Broncos' biggest position of need is wide receiver 2?
Yeah, it's not the case because your wide receiver 2 is Marvin Mims. Your wide receiver 2 that's ready to explode is Mims to do more. We think, and some may think, you've seen the best from Marvin Mims. That's not the case. You have not. There's more there for Marvin Mims to take, and that's the great thing about Marvin is last year he took that role. Last year there wasn't a role for him. Last year, where was he at in the pecking order to begin the season? We watch training camp every day. Marvin Mims not getting a lot of first-team reps. And all of a sudden, for whatever reason, middle of the season, they start using Mims as that weapon, that joker. Riddler is what I call him. And he thrives with that. And that is a guy that earned the role. But more than that, Will, he took the role.
Yeah.
He's just too good to leave on the sidelines because, he can't really run the routes yet. No. He's got blinding speed. Get him on the field. And I think this year he could be the Broncos' number 2 receiver.
Well, and you think about his biggest moments last year, Cease, we can all remember 3 of them, just like 3 of the biggest plays of the Broncos season. The touchdown against Cleveland, 94 yards, Browns, Monday Night Football. I still love that Joe Buck call, Marvin's at the 50-yard line, and Joe's like, he's gone, touchdown Denver. And you're like, very rarely in that league can a guy be at the 50-yard line and the play-by-play announcer can declare touchdown for your team.
Right.
And then the 2 in Cincinnati. I mean, the moon ball from Bo Nix, maybe my favorite throw of the entire season to get them back into that game. And then, of course, on 4th and 1 to get the Broncos within a point, he finds Mims again. Mims makes a great catch. Broncos hold up 2. Bo Nix holds up 2. Sean Payton holds up 2. And, just kidding, we're going to go to overtime, and they lose in OT. But I think Marvin Mims showed enough to me, particularly in those last 7, 8, 9 games, that, he already is wide receiver 2 on the Denver Broncos.
Right. Yeah, he's wide receiver 2, and what's his upside? I don't know yet. I
think it's high.
You can't put Marvin Mims in a box. Is he their version of Brandon Cooks? Sure. Brandon Cooks was a 1,000-yard receiver with Sean Payton. So I'm not going to project Marvin Mims for 1,000 yards, but if he got that total, I wouldn't be surprised.
And he catches a bunch of 70, 80, 90-yard bombs. Yeah. It's a pretty easy way to go on toward 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Whew. I don't know. Here's where I would go, ESPN. I would go running back as the biggest positional need on the roster. I would go inside linebacker as the biggest positional need on the roster. And I would even go tight end. I told you earlier I had another position to run by you as a bigger need on this roster than wide receiver 2. So I actually think they sort of whiffed on this list. I would say running back 1, ILB 2, tight end 3, all ahead of wide receiver 2 for me. That doesn't mean I'm not excited about Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
It's just the depth is Ingram and then who?
Right. And that's the problem. Now, Lucas Kroll signing his deal, he's almost out of chances.
Best player on the Broncos?
Best player in the minicamp and OTAs that wasn't named Pat Surtain or Quinn Mine. I know Sean took such issue with that. But
Are we still allowed to have fun with that like a year later?
Of course, yeah. I got big shoulders, baby. I got big shoulders. And I know, I think Tyler was like, we were talking about you. Yeah, go for it, baby. Go, yeah, baby. You think that bothers me?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, keep barking, baby. It's all good.
Well, and Sean had fun with it, too, because he even brought it up at a press conference a few weeks later.
Yes. So our best player, Lucas Kroll. And the thing is like, all right, of course not Pat Surtain. Of course not Quinn Miners. But I was out there during minicamp, and the best players were guys like Lucas Kroll. He was among the best out there. However, here's the problem. When we're at the wild card game in Buffalo, I'm sitting next to Andrew Mason, my compatriot, compadre, amigo on orange and blue today. Romy Beans on the other side of me. And I go to everybody, they're lining up. I was like, Kroll doesn't know what he's doing. Because it's one of those, you break the huddle and then you go over to your teammate like, what was I supposed to do?
Didn't know the play?
He's done that multiple times. Didn't know exactly where to line up. Yeah. Didn't know the play. I don't know exactly what that is. But he didn't know yet what he was doing in a playoff game. He's almost out of chances. So Adam Troutman, he'll be a coach someday. You know, that's great, awesome. Nate Adkins is an H-back. All right. But I'm with you of where's that other tight end? Because it's not the basketball player. It's not Caleb Lohner. Sorry. 4 catches, 4 touchdowns. Broncos with a sleeper. People calling him a Julius Thomas. Julius Thomas had 41 catches at Portland State.
Yeah.
People calling him a Jimmy Graham. Yeah.
Antonio Gates.
Yeah. No. It's just no. It's absolutely no. Is he Wesley Duke? You know, like, is that the type of player he is? Maybe. I don't know. But I'm not counting on him for another couple of years if he even makes the practice squad. So, yeah, I think another one. Thomas Yasmin's the international guy, so I get some questions. The amount of A.T. Perry questions I get is remarkable from Broncos country. Thank you. And then Thomas Yasmin might be a close second. Oh, what about the international guy? Like, it's not great, Bob. It's pretty rough. But you would expect that from an international player trying to make it in the NFL.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the NFL make a rule that every team could carry an international player?
Yeah.
So Yasmin is on the team. Yeah, because they're intrigued by him. I mean, it's not charity. They're not just doing the guy a favor.
Right.
But also the NFL has given them that flexibility that he's not taking a roster spot from someone else who may be more worthy.
Right. So I think that tight end, we talk about teams, watching teams out there if they let go of somebody in training camp. You'd be watching the waiver wire to see if you can make a play on somebody that's cut out there. Somebody at a position where, you know, you could be a little bit stronger, and maybe there will be some surprise cuts. Hell, just coming across the newswire right now, he's an edge, but Jadeveon Clowney's been cut by the Panthers. You know what I mean? We talked about Gabe Davis being cut, not a tight end, but kind of a tight end in the way that he's utilized sometimes. So, yeah, you're going to be looking around the league and saying, hey, you know, if someone, Durham Smythe with the Bears, somebody like that, grasping for straws here. But that's what you're doing if you're the Broncos right now, trying to find another pass-catching. You got plenty of blockers. Sean, you don't need any more blockers. That's what Adam Troutman here is for. That's what Nate Adkins is here for. But a receiving threat, somebody that can push Lucas Kroll for a roster spot, that's what they should be looking for.
All right, so then how do you power rank the positions of need in sort of the 4 we've identified here post-draft between wide receiver 2, which we didn't really identify. We're going off ESPN.
Yep.
Inside linebacker, running back, and tight end.
I'd almost go running back, tight end, inside linebacker. I like Drew Sanders a lot. Coach's son usually knows where to go on the field. Don't fool him by any sort of, motion, any sort of fake, any sort of play fake, pump fake, stuff like that. He's usually right where he needs to be. Young player, can get out of position, but Drew Sanders was my number 1 ILB when he came into the league a couple years ago, so I want to see him stay healthy and want to see him get an opportunity. We're going to have no Dre Greenlaw. And he may start training camp on the pup because you can't start the regular season on the pup unless you start training camp on the pup. So Greenlaw may miss some time in training camp. You're going to get a lot of Drew Sanders. Alex Singleton says he's going to be ready for week 1. Guess what? You're probably not going to see him in the preseason. You might not see much of him in training camp. We're going to see a lot of Drew Sanders. So after August 15th, then I could say, oh, Drew Sanders isn't showing it. Or I could say, yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Drew Sanders is your backup, and he's really, really good.
And it's kind of put up or shut up time for Drew Sanders, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, year 3 is that for a lot of players.
We're at that point of his career where we've talked a lot about this guy. We've heard the name a lot.
Yep.
And how many real plays has he made? Didn't he make a play in Buffalo in that wild card game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he's made some special teams plays as well. I know. You don't draft him for special teams ability, but...
Right. And real quick, is Alex Singleton's roster spot totally safe? Because you and Dover, the next couple months, you'll start doing the whole surprise cuts thing.
Right.
And I have heard Singleton surprise cut from more than one person.
Okay.
Is he firmly on the 53? Is it going to depend on how the ACL responds? Where are we at in terms of Alex Singleton's job security with the Broncos?
I think it's I'm not quite putting it in Sharpie, but I got a real nice ball pen.
Okay.
Right? I got a real nice one. It's not got full ink, ready to go. One of them fancy pants pens. Like I might even do the little inkwell thing. So not Sharpie, but pretty damn close. Especially if the recovery's been good and all reports from Singleton and his camp have been ahead of schedule in the recovery.
I'm rooting for Alex Singleton because he's a great, great dude. The work he does, like with Special Olympics,
Great hair.
is awesome. He has great hair. I just know that Sean Payton's not afraid to cut anyone. He cut Tim Patrick last year when that was not a popular guy to cut, especially after he worked with the first team offense. So I don't think a lot of those guys, unless your name is like Pat Surtain or Bo Nix or Quinn Miners, field Zach Allen. I mean, the list could go on. But there's probably only 25 to 30 guys that truly feel safe when they're playing